AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip from Celebrity Rehab. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for Celebrity Rehab.
Hey, everybody, Rehab.
Rehab.
It's our last night of Celebrity Rehab.
Oh, no. It is.
Last time we get to answer the phone like that. Of course, you answer your phone every time like that, right?
I do.
He does.
Rehab. It's Tamara Berg here with Michelle and Melissa Macedo. Michelle Macedo and Melissa Macedo.
Thank you.
And
There we
you guys, I realized as I said that they probably don't like that. And Phil Svitek. We also have Ben, the awesome Bottomley, as our engineer tonight. So, our last episode of Celebrity Rehab is Rehab Revisited.
Part two.
Part 2. They saved the strugglers for the last one.
Yeah.
The caboose of the struggler train.
Yeah.
Oh,
Indeed.
Looked a little worse than last week, you know? A little more sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start right in with Sean Young.
You are thinking this is funny, Sean.
Right.
She thinks it's so funny.
And then I went and had 2 margaritas.
She's like, I felt like having 2 margaritas, so then I had them. It's crazy that it was right after on the last day.
Yeah.
You'd think that you'd be so, inspired and
exactly.
And wanting to do it. That worries me about Sean.
Well, she had a great excuse. I was frustrated and tired of waiting, and I felt like I needed a drink, and then the solution was the drink.
That's true. That's a good excuse.
God, Zooks. Okay, first of all, can we just talk about what the crazy old lady she looked like when she was out in her garden with the flowers in her hair and the this is what I call it. I call it when I do it because I accidentally do this sometimes. Hooker blush. I mean, she had so much blush on, and
she did have a lot of blush,
and
she had a lot of makeup.
But it was bad. It was
bad.
really bad makeup.
I think she probably was like, oh, they're coming. I need to look like I'm doing so much better.
Right. Mm-hmm. But she just looked like a crazy old lady. Yeah. And she had that women who drink, into their later years get the belly.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Totally.
I thought, is she pregnant? And then I felt really bad for thinking that.
I know.
So I was like,
it's absolutely an alcohol thing.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. They get that kind of barrel belly.
Whereas guys kind of get proud of their beer belly.
Beer belly?
Is that so?
Yeah, you
because
kind of...
on guys, it's attractive.
It's awesomely attractive.
So
yeah.
No, I swear to God.
Marriage material.
Have you not seen, King of the Hill or any of those shows? No, they love, dude,
they
check out my beer belly.
It's their best friend.
No, but in all honesty, in every sitcom, the beer belly husband has a beautiful wife that's completely in shape, but whatever, he doesn't have to go to the gym because he drinks. Gets a lot of jokes.
Right.
He watches football with the guys, and he gets the jokes.
That's right.
God.
Yeah,
but she definitely had the alcohol.
But so she's
belly.
not. But she seems so happy. Why wouldn't she be proud of her beer belly? Guys come up with their names for their beer bellies.
They do.
Especially
they name
in college.
all the parts of their bodies, if you know what I mean.
Okay. You mean their noses?
Yes.
Yeah. They're so weird. I totally don't get guys. And what's her husband's name? Robert. Yeah, he has a problem.
But at
she
least
was like 12 beers a day, and he was like,
well,
6.
and
she's like 6 to 12. Wait, I just realized who he looks like. He looks like one of the guys in The Hangover or some movie like that. He's like a creepy guy, but that's totally unrelated.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at least he has the wherewithal to sit down and all that, and he's not like, oh, this is stupid, I don't want to do this.
Right.
He's admitting his faults, and
Yep.
and I like this little diagram of she's here, I could be here, and lose. I could be here and lose even lower, and then.
It was a good visual. That got confusing
Right.
to me a little bit. But.
Well, they were basically saying that he has an opportunity. She has an opportunity to inspire him, and he has an opportunity to aspire to the things that she's done. But I don't know. I got a bad feeling about that couple. I gotta say. And I've heard through the grapevine she's drinking like a fish.
Really?
That's what I've heard. Now, total rumor, total unsubstantiated. I can't say I have any personal experience with that at all. But I've heard it's just.
I wouldn't be surprised because when she said, "I've been drinking and I've messed up," and then she said
two times.
Oh, I mean
three, and laughed and just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Are you
she's
drunk
not,
right now?
She's not taking it seriously.
No.
And I know this is kind of a stupid, shallow thing to say, but gosh, she used to be so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she had that just like raven,
her.
beautiful hair, and I'm not talking about necessarily pretty and very young, because
Yeah.
she was very pretty when she was very young. But even the picture that looked maybe to be 5 or 7 years ago,
with
she
Robert,
just looked, she looked really pretty.
Totally
you know,
different.
normal skin tone and not all puffy and all that kind of stuff, and that's absolutely alcohol.
Totally.
I've seen it
does.
many times.
It does.
So,
It takes a toll.
yeah. But one of the keys that I think it was Dr. Drew talked about, he said, learning to regulate your feelings and process your feelings is key for her, and it's key for anybody who's got overwhelming issues like that. And I just thought that was a really important thing, because there are people in my life I know, and we see it a lot on intervention. It's these people who are doing whatever they can to keep the plates spinning and the balls juggling and things going on to distract, so that they don't have to deal with what's really the issue, the pain that got them to start taking drugs, the pain that they're trying to mask by continuing to drink, whatever it is. And it's that's such an important thing.
It's just denying. It's having all of these devastating and a lot of times really dark experiences, and just putting it in a little bottle and just shoving it in there, and making sure that it never ever comes out, ever.
Right.
So then they just feel good all the time and feel high all the time.
Yeah.
All that
doesn't work.
No, comes crashing down.
Not working so much.
Yeah, which kind of brings us to our next person.
Yes. Sugar.
She really
Jessica.
was scared of them. She came in and she knew it was coming for her.
Yeah.
Because she smokes and drinks now.
Well, now we know she has summer onesies.
Summer onesies and winter onesies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that. Have we seen her zip it all the way up?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
that
have.
one
She
time.
did it in
The
the
one
black
time.
one.
Okay.
When they were asking her the first time to go to sober living.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
She got
zipped it
scared.
all the way up past her face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I was making sure we saw that at least once.
Dr. Drew just had
Yeah.
to look at her for her to start crying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knew she messed up.
She's like, you make me cry. You make
Yeah,
me cry.
exactly.
Not
She's like,
Dr.
I'm
Drew.
glad I didn't go to sober living.
'Cause I think it's
now I'm
better.
not sober.
I'm so much better.
Yeah.
I think it's so much better for me.
Wait, I want everyone to know that a diet, which she's
Right.
on, she's like, I'm like on a diet. I'm like, I have to not drink or smoke pot this day and then take a break. I'm like, do you mean in moderation?
Right.
And you're calling it a diet?
Right.
Yeah.
That's, I believe they call that a dry drunk. It's somebody who's not being sober, but they're not exactly drinking. Of course, she
Right.
is exactly drinking, but what she's talking about is the dry drunk.
Yeah.
So it's not really working at
Phil,
all.
that's like you, kind of that reminds me.
Totally.
You're like, yeah, you're like that.
Dry drunk.
Totally
No,
Yep.
but
dry drunk.
it made sense when Bob was saying, I know like thousands of alcoholics that try and
Yep.
regulate their drinking.
Yep.
Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, and how many of that of them has that worked for?
Yeah.
None.
None. They're all
None.
alcoholics.
Yeah, but you're gonna be the one, Jessica. You're
Yeah.
gonna be the one. who
It's
can
gonna
do
be
it.
you. I can tell.
And they're like, go to sober living. She was like,
Yeah.
no. They're like, go to sober living. Okay.
I know. I was so
I know.
we practically had to rewind.
I know. I did not understand that, but
It's good though. That place looked really pretty.
I like how
Yeah.
they showed back to back the clips of her saying, I didn't do it because of my nieces and my nephews,
Yep.
and I love them too much."
Yep.
Dr. Drew's saying, "It can't be about that. It has to be for you." And her sister, the next clip, saying, "You have to do it. think about your nieces and your nephews. They love you. Don't you love them?
Right.
I'm like, oh,
Right.
it was just really sad. I think that learning how to talk to addicts is like half the battle. I mean, for family members and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to talk to
Like
them.
Al-Anon and stuff.
You know, and you could get drunk and then speak their language and do it that way.
Right. And get nothing done.
And get nothing
Get
done.
nowhere.
But, you know, be really hungover. Or you could just talk to them.
The other interesting point that I thought came up that Bob said, Bob, like pearls of wisdom tonight.
I know.
He was talking about suicide, and he said, you know, the thing with suicide is it's not so much that you want to die, it's just that you can't bear living like you are anymore.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really
good.
concise,
Yeah.
perfect way to put it, because it sort of gives you a little bit of freedom from the pain of that. If you can possibly see, not that I want to die, but the other side of that.
Yeah.
Because there's a choice there. If I don't want to live the way I'm living now, then I have a choice to do something differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a really
that's
good way of saying it, too.
Beautifully empowering, I would think.
Yeah.
I need to write that down in
Yeah.
case that comes up with friends
He's
of
so
mine,
smart.
which things like that sometimes do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last thing he was saying, that sobriety is freedom, because she's one of those people who's scared because she thinks it's all about restrictions. She was
Right.
talking about how I don't know how to have fun without drinking.
Yeah.
You know, and she's thinking it's taking something away, and what it's really doing is giving you opportunities to
Yeah.
live life in a
Yeah.
better, more positive way.
What's Bob
You know-
Forster?
I mean, there's tons of articles, scholarly, I'm sure. No, actually, that you might have read, Melissa, by going to Columbia. But the fact that limitations actually bring about more creation.
Yeah, well, that's what I think that Melissa and I have definitely learned with diets. If you just don't, if you're like, don't eat chocolate, don't eat chocolate.
Yeah, it's all
I
you're
know
gonna
in
think
Boston
about.
a lot when I was hibernating like a bear, all I would do is stuff my face with chocolate.
Interesting. Interesting.
And now we
story.
all
Good
know.
point.
Yeah,
And
it's
that
like
was-
a lifestyle change. That's what they're saying. They have to retrain their brain.
Right.
That's what I think Shelley said that.
Yep.
And that's what it is. Like, you can't expect your brain to just change in 20 days.
No.
With their, way Jessica needed to go to sober living.
Right.
She cares a
Right.
lot what people think. Obviously, everybody does.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I totally get the pressure. If she's hanging out with her old friends, I think that then she'll always go back to
Yeah.
how she is.
Yeah. And apparently who she is right now is Olivia Newton-John circa 1983.
Exactly. That is who she is. That was on the money. On the money. She would have been
Yeah.
really cool then.
With the headband and everything.
I know.
you
And then
know?
she kind of looked like a superhero when she went to
She
sober
did.
yeah,
living, didn't
because she was wearing
Kinda
the
like Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the red one.
Yeah, she can do it.
I wonder if she has a onesie line.
Maybe she does.
Maybe.
Maybe that's why she wears them all the time.
Maybe a good idea. I think that would
Yeah,
be
and
a
you know
good
what's so
idea.
interesting is you can see, this was the first time I was really looking at, she has a teeny cute little body in there that she's hiding with
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
So there's a whole thing going on
Yeah,
with
usually
that,
there's
obviously.
a whole
Uh-huh.
thing. And you know the pigtails, like
Yep.
like looking like a
Yeah.
child.
A baby, yeah, little girl. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Baby talk. Wasn't she
Yeah.
one of our baby talkers early
Yeah,
on?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Which makes me crazy.
Yeah, she does.
yeah.
To go back to what you were saying, Phil, about the limitations,
I wish I had
Give-
an article right now or something
Well-
like that.
personal experience, we're all creative. I think we all write, don't we, in some form or another? Blank page, scariest thing in the whole wide world.
Totally.
But if you're given parameters, either through a class or a project
Right.
or an assignment of some sort, if there's just a little bit of structure, it's so much easier
Yeah.
to just free up, because looking at all the possibilities in the whole world, incredibly intimidating. But if there's a
Right.
little bit of something here and there to give you some structure, it sort of, for me, it just opens my mind up. Don't you
Yeah.
find that to be true?
It does. And, I mean, they say the first thing, in terms of story writing, I mean, this is kind of boring stuff for you guys, but is to restrict yourself. Like, pick it to the setting, because then you're
Right.
restricted.
Right.
You know, in terms of time and space and all that, and what
Yep.
the characters can do.
Yeah.
And limits your choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So clearly that's one of those things that the human brain really can kind of thrive on in
Yeah.
all situations. So
That's
I
right.
think it's an important thing to remember.
Definitely.
Structure is good.
Yeah.
Anything else about Jessica? Anybody?
On a side note, read Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. It's
There
all
you
about
go.
addiction, and it's all about structure.
There it is.
It really is.
It's a big, fat book.
It's
It's
the biggest
one-
book I've ever. It's like next to the Bible. It's the biggest book.
That's where it is on my bookshelf.
Ever.
And I read them both with about the same frequency.
Totally.
There you go.
I know what you mean.
It's one of those books that, you know what, it's on the bucket list.
Yeah.
If you can accomplish that, you're golden. And
Yeah.
I've already read it, so you'll be up to my level.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
We'll be up to his level.
like Robert and Sean, you're just rising and we're
Yeah.
just gonna fall.
Well,
back?
you guys can join me.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right. We'll
There
think
you
about
go.
that.
Okay.
So anyway, Dwight Gooden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
doing
who knows?
really well.
But he said.
I know. I
Apparently.
couldn't understand so much of what
I
he
don't
said.
know.
It was
But
really hard.
Also,
I
when
know.
he came into rehab, they were like, "Oh, when's the last time you did coke?" It's been a
long time.
So when he says, I haven't had anything to drink, I haven't had anything,
Mhm.
I wonder if he's lying.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
a really good liar.
Right.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that that was true.
Yeah.
And he could be telling the truth, and we wouldn't even understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I had a really difficult time. He slurred his words. He was
Yeah.
harder to understand for me than Stephen Adler because
Yeah.
he spoke fast
Yeah.
and very slurry.
Maybe,
Agreed.
I don't know.
Agreed.
Maybe that's a bad sign.
But
Nah,
yeah, so
he's always done that.
yeah,
Spoken kind of fast.
Yeah,
And I mean, out of all those people, you know, in the previews, I thought, okay, here's a guy who is going to be the most sober. And then Bob was kind of a downer on this one. Like, all right, you've
Yeah,
been here
he
before.
was.
You've done 4 months. You've
Yeah.
done 8 months. At any
'Cause
moment.
he knows that he's a really good liar. You know, Bob
and
knows
he
the
said
BS.
Bob knows of him 4 times
Yeah.
getting this far and
Mhm.
relapsing, right?
Mm.
So, you know, odds are not great with that. But
No.
but he says he's going to meetings 7 days a week because his sponsor's a hard ass.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, that is good.
It's just, I know that he wants to say stuff because he wants to make everybody happy and make sure that everybody
Please people.
feels like it's
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
And that they didn't waste their time.
Right.
And the guilt of that. So I just feel like I have no idea what actually is going on in his life.
Well, I feel like, I mean, the one part that was missing before was the forgiveness of his kids and
Yeah.
him forgiving himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that was the part that was missing. And so while,
Yeah.
he got to 8 months, that kind of rose. And
Right.
now that's cleared.
Right.
So I believe he
So
can
this
go.
maybe is a
Yeah.
new,
Or
a
like-
whole new world for
I
him.
hope
At least
So-
he got permission from somebody who knows, like Bob. He got permission. You're always going to feel a little guilty. You're never going to
Right.
be like, that's totally cool that I did that.
Right.
Mhm.
But that's okay.
Right.
You don't have to. And you could, like, want to do coke or want to do all that stuff, but you don't have to feel bad
Go
about
have some
it.
coffee.
Right. Exactly. A jolt.
Yeah, there you go.
Can we get to Steven now?
Yeah, actually just one more thing. So
Yeah.
he was saying there's this fine line between where that these people tread about I'm not going to do it anymore because I have responsibilities to other people. And he was saying this is one of the things you couldn't, I think, Michelle, you couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
He was saying that his mom, he wasn't going to get in trouble with drugs or alcohol as long as his mom was alive.
Right.
Because
I
apparently
noticed
he's
that.
broken her heart over this.
Right.
And Bob was saying, imagine your mom and her lady friends going to your funeral.
Right.
And that was the killer for him. And so, do you guys have any insight on the can't do it for other people, but you kind of have to do it for other people sometimes sort of thing? I mean,
Yeah.
where's the boundary there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think some people can do that. I mean, from what it seems like and from the show and intervention,
Mm-hmm.
people do it for other people all the time, but the more that's so much pressure and expectation,
Yeah.
and you're promising something,
Yeah.
and such a responsibility,
Yeah.
and it's that, at least in all the situations that we've seen, it just collapsed.
Yeah. I think at its core, it has to be for you,
Mhm.
and then like as an extra push, it's for other people. But like, what happens when his mom passes away?
Right. Woohoo! Big party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think maybe what it is that as to a certain degree, the other people in your life can motivate you, but it's not something that you can sustain. That's sort of what you were saying. But there's sort of the difference between doing it for someone else and doing it because you have a responsibility to someone else. It's actually it's sort of two sides of the same coin. That that I'm doing it because I need to remain responsible to my, in his case, kids, you know, as opposed to, or mom, as opposed to I'm doing it for my mom. So maybe that's one
at
of
least
the differences
until
between it.
she's
At
you
least
know.
until she kicks off and I have that big giant Coke binge.
Oh, God.
So Steven Adler, let's talk about Steven.
Well, like just the first scene of walking in and seeing the like hobo in the bed was just like.
Wait, I thought
this
he had
is
just had
sketch.
sex and all the. I mean, that guy came out of nowhere.
I was like, that's his crack dealer who like came
Right.
over and like just slept
Needed to
over.
crash, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Joey
Or
Toolbox.
Joey Toolbox.
Let's give a quick shout out to Joey
Joey
Toolbox.
Toolbox?
Joey,
Please
what you
call
got
in.
in that toolbox?
If you are near a phone,
I mean, like the
Call in.
sketchiest looking guy, and also, what time was it? Like 10 or 11, and
Yeah.
he was sleeping. You know,
Yeah.
It's like he's an adult,
Yeah.
a hobo-looking adult.
well,
And they were in town to do one show which hadn't happened yet.
yeah.
I know, and he's
So
like,
it's not
"Oh,
like he was
come
sleeping off
in."
last night's show.
Yeah.
Come in, come. I don't think Joey Toolbox. I don't know how he's part of the band. Was he part of the band or
No,
the?
I have no
it
idea.
said
I didn't.
friend.
Friend.
at
Oh,
the
okay.
bottom.
Friend of the
Okay,
band.
he's a friend.
Yeah. And then the plate full of pot,
Right.
a lot of pot.
Obviously, somewhere deep down in there, I think that Steven doesn't really think that he can do it.
Yeah.
Because he.
I think,
Just
I honestly,
slips.
I think being on tour, if he's done that all of his life and he's been high all the time and he's surrounded by that,
Right.
it's impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
Bob was right. He should have stayed at another hotel. Or
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
done whatever he needed to
Yeah.
do.
Otherwise, trying to stick around these guys who that's their that's the pattern. That's
Yeah.
what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
right?
musicians, they love it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And it's just part of that life. And
That's
Yes.
All right. First
Go.
off, I'm going to say one point. Practice doesn't make perfect; it makes permanent. And so, if you're always touring and all you do is drugs, then it will become a permanent thing with you. And I
Right.
think that's the
Yeah.
big thing is disrupting that pattern.
Right.
Second, I hate the fact of like, oh, you're a musician, so you have to smoke pot. Oh, you can only be a great writer if you drink alcohol.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Or whatever.
stupid.
Right.
Well, you know what? Imagine all those amazing writers that did alcohol. How much more they could have written without the alcohol.
Yeah.
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 And people say, yeah, you need to get high, smoke pot to
Yeah.
feel creative.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it's taken a toll on Steven Adler.
It's not like I've
Like,
done it, but
physically, he doesn't look well.
oh, he's a muppet
Oh.
though.
he's a
He's
little bit
he's
of
an
a
animal.
muppet.
He's the animal.
He is animal.
Every time.
What did I lie
I
to
just
you
wrote
about?
down like Muppets. So much Muppets.
And I honestly, I don't know how he can be so coordinated still with his
the
drumming.
drums.
That
yeah.
is
No.
really amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
But again, just imagine
If
even
he
Bob said-
wasn't, yeah.
yeah.
He was in Guns N' Roses. I mean,
I think they said that he's been in and out of rehab like 11 times. or
yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's been a billion times. I guess I don't know who's paying for that. Do they have to pay for this?
To be in celebrity
To-
rehab.
yeah.
No,
I
I
don't
think
know.
we established last week that some of them are getting paid to be in celebrity rehab.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
or at least they're getting it for free.
Yeah.
But rehab does cost you money
I
I
know.
for sure.
in general.
I have something to say about Biling. We can talk about it after.
Okay.
Um.
Well, you know, the thing is that Bob's a musician as well, and
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
has-
Because they knew all the same people, and where
Oh,
I was gonna
right.
ask,
Yeah.
what is that about?
He in the 80s he was in a band like I forget what it was called. It's a one-word band.
Thelonious Monster.
It's not a one-word band.
Thelonious- Oh.
What did he play?
It
or
could be if you string it all
if
together.
you string it together, but I guess it was popular like in the 80s and then
I
you know.
think I don't.
Ben,
I
get
don't
us
know.
some, get us
Well,
Bob Forrest music right now.
Here it is. You know, yeah, exactly. It's Bob Forrest music, 2 hours. Spent the 80s and 90s running around Los Angeles fronting the band's Thelonious Monster. Released 5 albums and an EP. Anyway, so he clearly figured out how to, because he still makes music and he has a documentary film that's been out this year.
Yeah, I want to see that.
And so he's been able to figure out. Obviously, we know him from Celebrity Rehab more than we know him from being a musician. So maybe, he hasn't quite figured out how to make the music be his livelihood, unless it is, and I just don't know that. But he's figured out how to still have some hand in music and be sober. And I thought it was fascinating that he said, we've known each other for 25 years and everybody we know is either dead or sober. So that's the choice.
Yeah, that is the choice.
Right?
And he seems to be the last one. And it's limbo.
And he just sat there and like poured alcohol into his coffee cup.
Oh my God. And obviously they were all so drunk and high because they thought that they were hiding it from him.
Yeah, I know. It's so
like,
silly.
It's like in high school when your mom comes upstairs. I wouldn't know. And everything smells like vodka.
So
and
I've
you're
heard.
laughing with your friends is what I've heard in movies. You know?
Yes.
And it's just so obvious.
What I've
It's
read
like,
in
are
the
you
newspaper.
kidding? Exactly.
It's almost to the equivalent where you're like, oh, well, water doesn't have any taste, so let me drink some vodka, pour some water in there. Oh, but they found out.
Right.
Well,
that would be so
but
disgusting.
here's the thing: they put it in the freezer.
Oh,
And
good for them.
Well, because someone else filled it with what kept.
Good story.
Yeah.
And then
All
I
right.
found
We've heard
$10.
We've heard that story. Then we found $10.
It's a different. It's
Yes.
more money now.
Yeah.
It's 10.
Poor Steven.
Yeah, and Bob most upset because who's lying to him,
Yeah.
and then the story just really doesn't get any better. Steven decides to go back to rehab or sober living or whatever it was he chose, and then 48 hours left again, and at this point
it just seems like it's not gonna end well for him.
He must be so brain damaged.
Yeah, for sure. It's sad, his fight for sobriety continues. So, do you want to talk about biling now, or do you want to take a break first and then?
We can take a break, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so let's maybe go to commercial, and then we'll come back and talk a little more.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
So, you have some, like,
So,
what is it, gossip story?
It's sort of like news and gossip, I guess,
Wait,
but it's not that much.
Are you
going to
say the Bob Forrest
I
one?
guess I'll say that too.
Yes,
yeah.
It's pretty public information. But Bob Forrest, anyway, when he was in his teens, he led like a very troubled young person's life, which he dealt with a lot of trauma. And when he was in his teens, he found out that his mother was actually his sister.
Was also his sister.
Yeah,
let's
his
say
mother was also his sister.
We got some Chinatown action going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
And yeah, I really want to see the documentary about him.
No kidding.
Is that out?
It's called Bob and the Monster.
Yeah.
Is that already out?
Yeah, it's been out this last year.
Yeah, I think so.
been
Yeah.
out
I'm
for a
gonna
little
go
bit.
watch it. Like
I don't know
now.
where you can see it. I'm not sure. Anyway, I was watching. I forget what channel it was on, but it was a commercial came up, and Biling was on it, and it was a commercial for a reality show for this like pawn shop in Beverly Hills, but it's like a nice pawn shop. And a lot of celebrities go there when they don't have money or when they want to buy something to sell their thing to get money. And Biling went in and tried to sell this necklace and tried to get it for $1 million. And then he was saying, no, I'm not going to buy it from you. She was like, come on. Like, I really need the money. So that I was thinking maybe.
Was that
I don't
before or
know.
after?
After, I think. Because I don't think that episode has aired yet. So check out Biling on this show. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did she look sober?
She did look sober.
Okay.
She looked great last week, too.
She did,
really looked
didn't
happy.
She
Yeah.
got it together.
Yeah, she got it together.
But there's so much pressure, just like reunions. We're
Yeah.
about to have our high school reunion and college reunions and whatever. You want to be like, and the more you drink, like the more you say it. So I am so happy. This is like the best that I've
Right.
ever been doing.
Right.
Like I'm doing everything that I wanted. Like I'm going to be president in like a month. Did you know that? Whatever I do is much better than what you do. See how successful I am?
Interesting.
but I don't know. Maybe no one else does that.
No.
No.
I don't know.
All
No,
right.
never.
I'm gonna be with Joey Toolbox
Yeah, you and Joey Toolbox, you have a good time.
in the motel.
But oh no, that was fake news. I was
Oh,
gonna say you have news.
I do
You
have
had
amazing news. Jeremy Jackson
Mm-hmm.
and Dr. Drew Pinsky
Yes.
are joining forces for a new show
What?
called Drew Watch. Ben, hit the cue.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm.
AfterBuzz TV News.
That's right.
Wow.
Wow.
And it's so fake. Not happening.
Well, who
I
gets to
wish.
run? Please, Dr. Drew's gonna run around
That
in his
yes.
black T-shirt.
Dr. Drew would be Jeremy Jackson's father. He would be
Or-
the David Hasselhoff of that show.
Nice.
Or
Right.
maybe
Perfect casting, really.
maybe there'd be something romantic going on. Well, if it
Whoa.
was Bob Morrison.
Whoa. Tammy, you got some news and gossip?
I don't. I really don't. I'm sorry. I've fallen down on the job. I've been
All
working
right.
a lot in the last few days because my show is going to begin airing tomorrow in El Paso,
All right.
Texas.
While we're on it, talk
I'm
about it. What
gonna.
is it?
I am gonna. If you go to tamaracentral.com, you will see a little bit of video. It's everything I do, and I have a new lifestyle show called The Tamara Twist that's going to begin airing on PBS tomorrow in El Paso, Texas. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
That's
We're gonna-
awesome.
And how do you spell
Paso,
Tamara
Texas.
for our fan?
Thank you. It's Tamara. So the website is Tamara TAMARACENTRAL.com, tamaracentral.com.
All right.
Central.
Awesome.
Well,
So
while we're
exciting.
on the subject,
Yeah, let's promote.
Serial Buddies, a film that Tammy and I have worked on quite a long time, 3 years almost. It is screening September 20th in the Boston area, so check out bostonfilmfestival.org and get your tickets for Serial Buddies. That's Tuesday night at 8:45 p.m.
One night, one showing only that so far.
so far.
Yeah, and
Cool.
then
And it's a sneak
it's
preview.
a sneak. Yeah, we haven't started with the real premieres yet.
So-
Awesome.
That's pretty
So
awesome.
definitely
Well,
check.
while we're on the subject,
Yes,
I
let's.
guess
we're actually
go.
just doing some radio slots and doing a lot of stuff, and we are about to launch officially the website and our brand new music video, which we filmed the other week.
Yes.
And it's going to be awesome. It better be awesome because
Yeah.
it's taking a
You'll
long
hear
time.
about it when it comes.
You'll
What's
hear
your
about it when it
website?
comes. www.macedomusic.com. MACEDOMUSIC.
Yeah, guys, check it out.
MACEDOMUSIC.
You got it right.
Yeah,
You got it. Yeah, you got it. I see you checking yourself,
Yeah.
but you got it. I was listening. So, and none of us are going to end up in rehab.
No.
No, not by-
Things are going well. And rehab not coming back, as far as we know. It's been indefinite hiatus. We've known that all season. So,
Oh, no.
Is
so
it
But
people
we
are
will
gonna have
be-
to watch Life Changers instead if we want to get our
Yeah.
fix
That's
of
right.
Dr. Drew.
Oh,
Right?
I can
God.
just go to his house.
You could.
You
I
could.
suppose.
You
Police
could.
might
You know
come,
what?
though.
I want Dr. Drew more on Adam Carolla's podcast. I think they do an amazing job together.
Yes. And
Like
I
in their
just
Loveline
have
days.
always done beautiful.
More,
did
more
that
of
line.
Dr. Drew in life, period. That
By the
was
way,
good.
real quick, I mean, do you guys know some people fighting with sobriety? I mean, Stuart, Lil, and I used to do this for Southland, where every week we would honor, officers who died in the line of duty. And I mean, should we honor some people who are trying to get sober in all our lives?
Oh, okay. Where are you going with this?
I don't know. I figured we'd honor some
Definitely.
people.
No,
This
I
is the
get
last
what you're
show we're
saying.
doing.
I get what you're saying. There's a lot of friends of ours totally struggling
Yeah.
with that, and it sucks
Yeah.
because it's people
They're
we
in
know
our
and love.
minds. I'm not gonna say any names because I feel like. that
Well, yeah, I
would be
mean, here's
appreciated.
what it comes down to. I mean, as much as we've joked in this entire season about these people, obviously what they're going through is a very tough thing. Is a
Yeah.
very serious thing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, while we joke about it, we wish them all the best.
Absolutely, we do.
Mhm.
We
And
absolutely do.
hopefully that we all learn how to interact and be supportive now after watching this, because Dr. Drew has taught me a lot about that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm
definitely.
like, oh, I see why that sounds like I'm putting you down or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
So it really helps a lot with that. And be supportive.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm so used to you being kind of an ass, Phil. Honestly, that I was expecting some like bad punchline at the end of that one.
I was,
Yep,
I know.
yep.
Because it
think
wasn't
we're all
fair,
waiting for
I
it.
apologize. And yes, I do absolutely think that we should,
I was the first one to notice that he was
take
serious.
a moment to support the people who we know who, and some of them aren't struggling. Some of them, some of the people that I know are not struggling with sobriety. They're living very happily with sobriety, and some struggling. And God bless them all, because it's not an easy thing to go through.
Yeah,
it's just not.
Yeah.
So, good on them.
There you go. Ben, take us out of here.
Yep, that's it. Thank you, Dr. Drew. Thank all of
Dr.
you.
Drew.
And thanks, Celebrity Rehab. Don't do drugs.
Don't do
Don't
drugs.
do it.
Just
And,
do it.
Don't even drink.
When's Life Changers come on?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's like September 19th, right? I mean, it's coming.
All the shows are coming out like the 19th, 20th, and 21st.
Oh,
it seems to
really?
me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's
probably
Wednesdays on the CW network, so be sure to check that
And
out.
it must
And,
be the
Awesome.
21st.
and you know what? Email info@AfterBuzz TV because we're trying to get Gian Molina onto Life Changers.
Who's that?
Out him.
He's
Nice work there, Phil.
No, you know why? Because he's a bit overweight, and
Yeah.
you know what? He's 25 years old, and his heart is beating for 2 effing people.
Yeah.
Wait,
This guy
what-
needs some
what-
serious help.
What are you guys talking about? Should we
He's
not
an-
talk about this?
He's an actor in Serial Buddies, and he needs some help.
Oh, go Gian, you're awesome.
Yeah.
He needs some help. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to admit it.
Yeah.
Needs to admit he's overweight.
As someone very, very close to Melissa and I has that exact problem, and that's a struggle. It's just addiction to food.
Yeah. It's a really hard one to overcome.
Yeah.
Because you have to
Anyone.
face that addiction every single day.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
That's
Thanks,
it.
everybody.
Alright.
Thanks for being with us. We'll see you on the next show, whatever it will be.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.